All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Accessible Services Advisory Committee, or ASAC, for Thursday, March 19th, 2026. Just an opening about myself. My name is Cesar Fernandez. I sit on the City Council for the City of Chula Vista. I represent District 4, which is the most southwest district in the city, and that is where the famous blue line rides through. After seeing several individuals with accessibility issues make their way all the way up to the 10th floor and speak during public comment at Board of Directors meetings, I decided to share my concern with MTS doing more to help individuals with accessibility issues. And so when the opportunity came up to chair this committee, I decided that that was the best thing for me to do, was to serve with y'all and work with y'all to help those individuals. So again, thank you for being here today, and thank you for your continued commitment to improving mobility and accessibility and access to transportation for riders throughout our region. Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Members, please make your selections on the tablets.
Are we good? I didn't see the roll call come up on the screen. Did you all? It looks like we have a quorum, though.
Yeah.
So let's move on to agenda item number 2, non-agenda public comment. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers for non-agenda public comment?
No, there is not.
All right, thank you. Seeing no speakers, we will move on to agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes for December 4th, 2025, ASAC meeting minutes. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve. I second.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve from Member Marino and seconded by Member Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Members, please make your selections on the tablets. The motion passes with 11 voting yes and 4 absent.
Would you like to register an abstention, Member Gimbley? Okay, thank you. All right, motion passes. We will now move on to agenda item number 4, which is the fare change study update. At this time, I'd like to invite Mark Olson and Leanne Powell to provide the presentation.
Okay, well, thank you, Chair and members of the committee. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm Mark Olson. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications here at MTS. And joining me for this presentation, Leanne Powell, who's our Fare Systems Administrator. And we are going to give this group an update on the fare change study. So a little bit of background here. The fare change study and why we're looking at possibly increasing fares right now is it's part of a broader financial sustainability strategy to extend MTS's fiscal challenges and fiscal cliff beyond 2028. So we're trying to push back some very serious budget challenges that we have as an agency. And so we have a whole strategy in place for this, and fare changes could be a part of that. And so the MTS board wanted us to study this a little bit further to see what the impact would be. And they gave us that direction last year. And so we've been working on that over the course of that time. So just looking at the strategy for filling the gap, so to speak, in our fiscal cliff and pushing that out 2 more years. Basically, how you boil it down is we need to find about $528 million over the next 4 years to push it out and balance our budget until 2030. So we're doing that in a variety of ways. One of the things that we're doing is we're shifting some non-essential capital funding that we have in our budget over to backfill for operations. We're also tapping into our reserves that we have at $173 million. Then we have miscellaneous operating expenses, which is internal belt tightening that we're doing as an agency, and we're looking at some position freezes and things like that. But then another lever as part of this is fares and service. And then we're looking for $93 million out of that piece to the pie. And these are the two primary levers that a transit agency has to have control over to address financial challenges. It's fares and service levels. So out of this bucket, we're looking for about $23 million a year over the next 4 years as part of this broader financial sustainability plan. Just to give it an order of magnitude and what this actually looks like, it represents about 26% of our current fare revenues that we collect from riders every year. But if you compare that to service, you can see this 23 million. You look at all Saturday bus and trolley service, that's $18.2 million a year that we pay for that. All weekend bus service at $24 million. All Blue Line service, 7 days a week on the trolley, that's $22 million a year it costs to operate. And all Green and Orange Line trolley service, 7 days a week, that's $23 million. So it is a substantial amount of money when you look at it in terms of operations. So as part of this fare change study, we conducted outreach in the fall as kind of a phase 1, just to touch base with riders and residents and see what they think. In terms of prioritizing those two elements to this effort, right? Cost to ride versus service levels. The high level takeaways that we got 5,700 responses from our riders out there and the general public. And people definitely prioritize service levels over the cost to ride. They also wanted to see us in this process preserve youth and senior passes. Youth, senior, and Medicare recipient passes prices as much as possible, even if others have to pay more. They also want us to consider a phased approach to any increases so it doesn't hit all at once. Maybe, make some increases now and then again in 2 years, phase it in. Then they also looked at, and prioritized increasing one-way and day passes over monthly passes. So that was our phase 1, and we'll talk about phase 2 in a little bit. But after that phase 1, we took that information back, and then Leanne and her team started to look at some packages that we could take back out to the public and get some more feedback on. And now I'll hand it over to Leanne.
Thank you, Mark. Over several months, SANDAG, MTS, and NCTD staff collaborated to develop fare packages to increase revenue with the goal of targeting 50% of the budgetary gap Mark just mentioned, while also considering the proposed package's effect on ridership loss, price sensitivity for SDM riders, the riders' willingness to pay a little more to keep service levels as high as possible, again, with the goal that the increase would help push out the fiscal cliff to 2030. So how do our prices compare? Here, you'll see 6 different peer agencies. Our MTS adult one-way fare is $2.50. Our MTS adult day pass or fare cap is at $6, which is in line with our peers. However, when you look at the adult monthly pass, our pass is priced at $72. And you can see in comparison that our peer agencies are priced well above that. Here we see a summary of the package proposals. For package A, the adult one-way would increase from $2.50 to $3. The adult one-way, the SDM one-way would increase from $1.25 to $1.50. The adult day pass or daily cap would increase from $6 to $7. The SDM day pass would increase from $3 to $3.50. The adult monthly pass would increase from $72 to $90. The SDM monthly pass would increase from $23 to $30. The MTS Access one-way pass would increase from $5 to $6. For package B, you'll see an increase in the adult one-way from $2.50 to $3.50. The adult one-way proposed change would remain the same as package A from $1.25 to $1.50. The adult day pass would increase from $6 to $8. The SDM day pass would increase from $3 to, again, the same as package A, $3.50. And the adult monthly pass would increase from $72 to $100. And the SDM month pass would see a $28 increase in package, an increase from $23 to $28. And the MTS Access one-way pass would increase from $5 to $7. So let's take a look at some of the impacts. For package A, the projected annual revenue increase is $11.2 million. Projected annual ridership loss is 2.3 million riders, or 2.8% of our ridership. For a overall high level comparison between packages A and B, a lower adult but higher SDM month pass increase, lower day pass and one-way fares, lower revenue, which would cause more service impacts, and lower ridership loss. For package Package B's projected annual revenue increase is $16.8 million. The projected annual ridership loss is 3.2 million, or 3.9% of ridership. For a high level comparison between packages A and B, package B proposes a higher adult but lower SDM month pass increase. It proposes a greater increase in adult day pass and one-way fares. It generates higher revenue, which lessens service impacts, and it comes with higher ridership loss. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Leanne. So now that we developed these two packages, we needed to go have a conversation with the public, what they think. I mean, overall, we wanted to listen to some reactions. Were these way out of the possibility? Were they going to walk out of the room on us? You know, what were they going to overall think about these two packages? So we wanted to listen to their reactions. We also wanted to identify the tolerance that they may have to certain increases with certain categories that we were looking at increases for, understand what kind of pricing sensitivities they had. But ultimately, our job is to, as staff, is to, you know, help inform a final package that we can bring back to the board of directors for consideration. And we're looking at doing that in April. So certainly we wanted to come to this group, give you these results, and get your input too before we, you know, finalize our outreach efforts and go to the go back to the board. So when we went out for this phase 2 with these two packages, you know, the 4 questions we had is we wanted to talk to them about that balancing act between cost or service and which one's more important after they saw these packages and actually had numbers to look at of the increases. Then we also wanted to ask people, hey, if you had to pick one package, you know, this isn't a great decision that anybody wants to make, but if you had to pick one, which one would you choose? And then we wanted to see, you know, with that higher package, that package B, if we were able to scale that over time, phase that in over time, how would this impact your preference? And then the 4th question that we asked was, if MTS eliminated fare capping to limit the higher cost to ride, would you support that? And that's one of the things that we have with our system is the fare capping, where you never pay more than day pass in a day or a month pass in a month. The system knows how many times you've ridden, and it'll calculate that. And so once you hit that $72 cap as an adult monthly, it won't charge you anymore, and you can basically ride as many times as you want the rest of that month. And so that's very valuable for our riders who ride 7 days a week. You know, typically they're more dependent on transit, and, you know, so it's something that's very valuable to people who ride often. So we did outreach on 3 different levels. You know, we held some in-person workshops. I think those are valuable to really hear the comments in person, have them talk through it a little bit more, get into breakout groups, have those smaller conversations with people, which is very valuable. It also helps so we can target people who don't necessarily have access to a computer or stuck in the digital divide, and for seniors and things like that. So it's definitely helpful to talk about it in person. We did that at 5 different workshop sessions. We had over 80 participants total. We also wanted to cast a wider net and have an online version of this. And so we did get 800 responses out there between February and March. And then we also want to go talk to our riders directly. And so we did that with some transit center tabletop locations at 5 different transit centers as well. So overall, we found similar results over the 3 different ways that we were communicating with riders in this process. And what we found is that people, even after seeing these 2 packages and the increases, they still favored, having those higher service levels over the cost to ride. You can see that, well over 70% with most. As you get to the people who are riding 7 days a week or more, that starts to drop down. There's just more price sensitivity, I believe, with those who ride 7 days a week. With the package preference, what we saw was that it's pretty much balanced between the 2 of what people preferred. It's about 50, infrequent riders supported, package B a little bit more. The frequent riders that ride 3+ days a week, they supported package A a little bit more, but overall it's about a 50-50 split between the 2. With the phased approach to package B, what we saw here was that, people really still value, the service levels, and even more so if we're able to phase in that package B, where if you combine the blue chart or the blue bar with the yellow bar, you're getting well into the 70% approval rate for package B. So I think that really speaks volumes to how much people value service over the cost to ride. With fare capping, eliminating that, hey, if that was able to get us to that adult monthly pass, if we were able to go down, which everything kind of follows with that adult monthly pass, and the other pass prices kind of fall in line with that. If we're able to get that below $90, let's say $85, but we would have to eliminate the fare capping benefit that we have for very frequent riders, is that something you'd be willing to support? And I think what we saw here is that people would prefer to pay more to keep the option of fare capping in place after we talked to them about it, particularly in the workshops. I think one of the interesting things that came out of this too with the workshops, and I thought one of the frequent riders brought it up during a workshop, was that she said, I definitely would be willing to pay more and support package B, because once you lose service, and she had experienced this with another realignment that we did years ago, where a bus stop in her neighborhood got removed for efficiencies or whatever it was, but she said it's really hard to get service back once it's lost. So I think that was really a key thing that I thought coming out of this directly from a rider who rides our system often, had experienced that in the past. And so she was willing to pay a little bit more, to keep service levels as high as possible. But, also just high level results. I think packages were evenly split between A and B. We saw not only seniors, but just that SDM category. They tended to favor package B due to the smaller increase in the SDM fare with that package. That's how we tried to balance package B out a little bit, not have as much of an increase on SDM, but the adult monthly was higher than in package A. A phased approach for package B was more tolerable. We definitely saw support go up for that package if we're able to phase it in. But there wasn't overwhelming support for eliminating fare capping, even if we were able to get the adult monthly pass below $90. So just interesting there that people see the value in fare capping, and particularly people who ride more often. So with that, and just one more thing too, we are doing some outreach to our access passengers. That is actually in the works right now. We're having a survey out to all access passengers, and that survey will close on March 31st. So we will have that as part of our final package of outreach that will go before the board next month. NCTD is also doing outreach right now. That's happening until probably the end of March or close to it. We will be going to the Sandag Transportation Committee with an update later this month as well. And then again, we are planning to go back to our board at the April meeting with some final recommendations for consideration. And primarily because we saw all the riders and everybody who we've been surveying through this process have prioritized service over the cost of rides. So we think there's some tolerance there for some increases so we can save as much service as we can during this fiscal cliff and pushing out that fiscal cliff to 2030. So if any changes went into place, that would happen probably in the late summer, fall time period, just so we have 6 to 8 weeks to educate riders, change out all of our materials, go through that process. So even if it is approved by the board at some point, we still need some time to educate our riders about it. And so with that, we can open it up for questions or comments, feedback on the process, and anything else you have. So thank you very much, Chair. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Olson and Ms. Powell for the presentation. Madam Clerk, are there any public speakers on this item?
We have no public comment.
All right, thank you for that. Are there any committee members who would like to comment or ask questions on this item?
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Great presentation, by the way, and thank you for all the efforts putting into studying this. The one question, or I guess comment, would be, and it'll be interesting to get your when you get the feedback from the ADA riders, is I can see the effort to keep the SDM down, but I'm just kind of wondering the proportionality of taking ADA to $6 and $7 and how the paratransit riders are going to feel about that. And, I guess it's a little too early for you to have an answer, but it'll just be interesting to see how that shakes out. So.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we're eager to get those responses as well, and that is something that we can definitely report back to the board on.
Member Marino?
When do you anticipate the access survey being distributed?
In the next day or two, and then it'll run through March 31st.
Okay, and do you know how they're distributing that? Is it email to registered riders or?
Correct, yes. Yeah, we'll do
Okay.
that. And then we'll probably also do some seat drops as well. So people have the information on board.
I appreciate all the extra effort. I know it's doing these studies is a lot of work, and I can appreciate the effort that goes into that. It is necessary. I do see where the fares are going to have to go up given the shortfalls. There's really no question about that, and I think that the public understands and expects that too, as long as it's not a mammoth increase. I think they'll be able to support something like that. As an access rider that's low income, I am concerned also about those jumps in fares. We don't have a daily rate. The ability to pay a daily rate or a monthly rate. I know it's considered a premium service, but many other riders don't. In order to qualify for access, you can't ride direct service. So I know it's considered a premium service, but if you're riding access, you sort of have to ride access. And typically you're going to be dealing with a lot of low income riders that are on fixed incomes or small disability incomes. And so for myself, if you choose that $7 increase, it's another $60 a month I'm going to have to come up with from a fixed income. So I know the other riders are going to feel the same. We're all stretched in all directions, so we appreciate that it has to happen, but just bearing in mind the weight that falls on the low income riders is helpful.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback.
Thank you for that. I'll make another call for comments or questions from members.
Chair, we have another question from committee member Hall. And the question is, how do these rates impact individuals that receive disability discounts?
Yes, Monique is interested in finding that out.
Yeah, I don't think it has an impact on any other discounts that they would get from outside sources. Leanne, do you have anything to add to that? Are you familiar with it? It was about if the past price that we're looking at for access riders or for probably these other packages, how would that impact, third parties providing some type of support for, I don't think it would have a direct impact on it. As far as I know, it's something that we can look into. So thank you for the question.
Okay, Member Marino?
Thank you.
He may have been clarifying, would the discounts be changing or going away? And I don't think they would under this program. It would still probably remain the status and the percentage that it is for the new riders. Just the fare itself would increase, if I'm correct about that.
That's correct.
And I don't think there are discounts for our access riders. I don't think there's a
Not that
discount
I'm aware,
program for
but
that.
there might be third-party subsidies out there that
Sure.
people can apply for.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. See, Member Rodriguez, please.
Hi, how are you doing? Hey, I hear about I think that it's good about good information you presented today. I think in the future, you guys may want to do for the regional center clients, for the ones who write maybe do like a little survey, what do we think about the other changes you guys want to make in the future notice?
Well, if I'm hearing the question correctly, it was if we want to survey and talk to more people about this.
Yes,
Are we planning to do that?
yeah,
Through this process, we're not going to hold any more workshops or do any more online surveys right now.
okay,
We don't think, we've surveyed so many people, we don't think it would really move the needle anymore in any specific direction that would be outside of where the results are landing right now between the two packages. But we will do another round of outreach if fares do change.
thank you.
Okay, this is an informational item, so no action is required. We'll now move on to agenda item number 5, fixed route and trolley update. I'd like to now invite Keith Van and Aaron Pitt to provide the presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Keith Van, Manager of Service Operations for our in-house bus operations. A couple things we'll go over today is a recap of December nights. We just recently had a service change. Rock and Roll Marathon has a date change that is different than what everyone's accustomed to, and just an update on the America Plaza project. All right, so this is the second year that we've used a new routing, which leaves City College, goes through Florida Canyon, comes up Morley Field, and essentially serves the bus lane coming south on Park Boulevard, through the park, all the way down to City College. Last year, well, 2024, we only made about 75 trips. So this year, we've had increased resources. We had 8 buses each night. So over the 2 days, we made a total of almost 150 trips out of City College. Average trip time for those 2 days was just over 34 minutes. So the frequency was really good. And I think the really good part about it is we transported over 12,400 people. So a really big success this past year. Probably continue to do the same thing for the coming years, keeping the same route. All the support that we had from other departments here at MTS, creating signage and passenger service representatives, and it was just very successful. Service change in January, some of you might know already. This is just a little map of our 12th and Imperial Transit Center realignment that we've had. We had 4 routing changes, 2 in-house. Route 12 doesn't terminate at City College anymore. It now terminates here. The 120 still terminating at 4th and B, but we've added service back to northbound 5th Avenue at Broadway. Previously, it would turn left on Broadway and just head north on 5th and start at 5th and C. That's first pickup location. So we restored service back to there. 929 now terminates here as well, 12th and Imperial. Doesn't head in all the way into downtown, and the 992 doesn't terminate at 13th and Broadway anymore. It's now at 4th and Broadway. So some big changes for the downtown area in terms of service and relocation. The marathon. Historically, it's been the first Sunday in June. This year, it is May 31st. So just want to get on everyone's calendar a little early. It's probably the biggest day of service interruptions for bus routes, fixed bus routes, delays, extreme delays, detours for numerous routes. It's beginning of service until approximately 3 p.m. when the race is over. Santa Fe Depot, I have here, it's completed at the end of the month. I got an update this morning. It's now been moved to mid-June. So this is the America Plaza pedestrian project where they're redoing our bus bays for our rapid routes there. So all those routes, 215, 225, and 235 are still eastbound on Broadway, just east of Kettner. That's it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Appreciate being able to speak with you. I'm Aaron Pitts, Manager of Special Operations for the Trolley. I'm going to be discussing the rider quality enhancements we've been doing for patrons of all types of riders, the 2026 special service events coming up, sports seasons, and then construction projects, including Orange Line coming up. For the ride quality enhancements, we've been working to improve the quality of the rides for all the patrons. Recently, we've implemented software that will allow the operator to see that someone's requested the ramps to enter the trains from the inside of the train. In the past, we've had problems where people have been unable to leave because the operator doesn't know there's someone trying to leave. They'll cancel the doors and they'll be able to leave, and the person will be stuck on the train. So now we have software that we're implementing system-wide that will allow the operator to know that there's been a request for the ramp, and that will not go away until the ramp is fully gone out and returned. So it's allowing for better availability for the people to deboard and board the trains, especially in the stations where we have a curve and we can't see the rear of the train. We have added announcements to all the trains in between every station now that tell the people to hold on to the handrails to allow for greater communication. It's in English and Spanish so that everyone will be able to understand the train is a high velocity vehicle and they need to hold on at all times. We decided to do it at every station because people getting on and off would be better to do it every single time, but we've had to modify the announcements a little because sometimes there was so much announcements happening between stations, they weren't finished between the next station. So they're working to trim down on some of the wording to make it fit better, but we've been putting a lot of effort into that. For the 2026 special events coming up, we have a lot of sports going on in San Diego starting March. This weekend's going to be very, very busy with special events. We have the NCAA tournament. We have Snapdragon SDFC game. We have the Savannah Bananas playing, and we actually also have a track closure going on, which I'll address in the next slide. But the seasons are scheduled. We have everything prepared for it. We generally have a good plan we did last year. We're going to use the same plan again. Hasn't been too much problems. We constantly address issues and fix those as they happen. As I understand, the bus routes that we're running for the trolley, the extra routes right now this year, they're not using them. They're keeping a couple spare to see if we need them or not. For the most part, the extra bus service that they were running for the Padres events aren't going to be going any longer. And we'll have Comic-Con coming up in July, which is always the biggest day of the year for us. And then San Diego Aztecs will be coming later in the year for sports. We have a lot of other minor events that happen, sometimes major, but they're not sports. We have Guns N' Roses coming in, I believe it's September. We have minor events at VS Arena and Calcoast Open Air Theater. They usually don't bring a lot of ridership, but they are events that bring sufficient numbers to keep the green lines larger than normal. And we have another protest march for the No Kings coming up on the 28th of March. That'll be a big service impact to us. For the construction projects, we are working on the Orange Line Improvement Project. It's requiring several closures over this year and next year to increase the ability of the infrastructure to be able to turn trains back, keep things moving when there's problems with less delays for the patrons. Obviously, we're having the growing pains of the closures as we're doing them. This weekend will be a closure between Euclid and Lemon Grove. We'll have buses running in between. We've been doing very good outreach to the community through marketing and through the signages and letting people know that there are closures coming up. But we will inevitably have people that aren't aware of that. So we do our best to also have passenger service representatives at the stations to let people know when they're coming there. The other construction projects we have are trying to find niches in the middle of that. And it makes a lot of weekends where we'll have track closures coming up this fiscal year. A couple of pictures I threw in of the Orange Line where they're putting in a new crossover, rehabilitating crossovers, so that, for instance, there's a train stuck at a station, we'll be able to go around with it instead of in the past where we'd had to back up or do a lot of the signal protected and being able to move quickly through the delays. There are several grade crossings that are going to be replaced in this coming year. Bradley Street, 7 Drive. Track near City College needs to be replaced. All these will require a weekend closure. And they're not set yet for the dates, but they are coming up this year. For the Blue Line tire replacement, they're almost done with that project. They've had to replace around 10,000 ties. They've been doing it since the beginning of, the end of February. They should be done by March 30th. It starts at 9 p.m. at night. It is causing delays for the Blue Line trains, but we're not modifying the service in any way other than that. So it's been pretty, they've been pretty good at going way ahead of schedule on that. There'll be another single track to address an issue we have at Byers Slope that was eroding due to the rains we had a couple of years ago, and they've been doing a lot of research to figure out best way to do that, and they found a good plan where it will probably eliminate the single track or reduce the impact to the riders for sure. The tire replacement, there's some of the pictures of the ties that they have stacked up ready before they start the project, the machines that are lifting them, and then they have a machine that'll knock them out, put the next one in. And that will be it. Is there any questions or comments?
All right, thank you, Mr. Van and Mr. Pitt for the presentation. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments?
We have no public comment.
Okay, with that, I will open it up to member comments and questions. All right, seeing none, this is.
Oh, sorry, Chair. We have actually a comment from one of our committee members, Committee Member Monique All again. She's asking, you mentioned auditorial verbal announcements on the trolley. What visual alert systems or safety alerts can be implemented for people with hearing barriers or deaf?
I know for the visual, we actually have signs on board the train that tell the same thing that the messages are saying in the audio. We actually put in the audio because we weren't addressing the people that couldn't hear the messages, or sorry, see the
So
messages.
you have captions, you have captions with the announcements on the train.
Yeah, those are already on the train, but the audio is something that we've implemented recently.
Okay.
Just a quick clarification on the December nights travel time. Is that a one-way trip from, I guess, where it started downtown to the
All the way
park
back.
drop off, or is it a round trip?
It is a round trip from City College through the park and all the way back to City
Through the
College.
park and all the way?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, any other member comments or questions? Okay, thank you. This
Thank
is
you
an
as well.
informational item, so no action is required. We'll now move on to item number 6, Easy Wallet Overview. I'd like to now invite Vasilina, oh, I'm gonna mess this up, Hayes to provide the presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Vasi Heiss, and I'm the manager of Paratransit and Minibus here at MTS. And I am here to provide an overview of a new module that we're going to be launching for our access clients called Easy Wallet. So a brief overview, and this is a very high-level overview. Easy Wallet is a digital payment system similar to Pronto, where MTS Access passengers are going to be able to pay for their trips via cash or credit card through an app, like I said, similar through Pronto. So now they're going to have 3 different options to pay for their trips. They'll have cash, a prepaid ticket, and now they can do it online through either the web or an app. This is a one-stop shop, and it works seamlessly with our MTS Easy Access app, and that's been a very successful app that we've had within our system. So clients are able to book trips 24/7. They can book trips up to 10 days in advance. And so with this particular module integrates with PassWeb, so you can do everything at once. You can book your trip, and then you can also pay for your trip at that same time. And with this one-stop shop, it keeps the transportation funds in one convenient place. With Easy Wallet, you have the freedom to travel. So you can book trips, like I mentioned earlier, your trips, you can prepay for them before you get in a vehicle. So as soon as you book your trips, whether it's 10 days in advance, 5 or 1, then as long as you have money in your account, then you will get debited that $5. And this really cuts down on the time that a passenger would look for their ticket or exact change. Now, in terms of the rider experience, this is a 24/7 account management similar to the Easy Access app. So passengers can add funds, they can check their wallet for their balance, and they can also view their trip history at any time. We have had requests in the past from passengers to get a receipt for their trip, and this is a place where they can go in and they can download trips going back months or weeks, whatever it is. And so that's going to be a very seamless process for them where they don't have to call us, or maybe sometimes when they do get a receipt on a bus, it's a little card, they lose it. This is a place where they can just go in and get it, whether it's for reimbursement purposes or just for their own records. And there is flexibility with this. So passengers or their designated representative can top up accounts for them using a debit or credit card. We do have individuals who rely on someone else to give them cash or ticket or prepay for them. And so this gives you the option to do that as well. So it could be a caregiver, it could be someone at a day center. So there's a variety of people that can top that up for the passengers. So the passenger themselves doesn't have to worry about the payment for that particular trip. And in terms of flexibility, continuing with flexibility, there are auto pay options available. So you can, every time, let's say you get down to $5, then the system can automatically debit your account to add a specific amount. So we have a range of minimum $5 up to $100 or $200 that can be in an account at one time. And with that, you also get alerts when you have a low balance, or it could be the passenger, it could be the caregiver that gets that alert so that you don't miss any kind of a payment. Continuing with flexibility, we also provide automatic fare credit if a trip is not completed. So whether you cancel your trip or there's some issue where the trip was not completed, that specific amount of the $5 is going to get credited back to your account so you can use it for future trips. And passengers will be alerted in the event of there's a failed transaction. So either the credit card or the debit card did not go through. This is secure, similar to Pronto. So your information is going to be secure as well as your financial data. And really, this process reduces the risk for passengers, whether they sometimes get their tickets stolen or they lose their tickets, or with cash. It really is a seamless process. I know this was a very high overview. We're still in the design phase, so this is going to launch at some point in this coming up summer. And what we would like to do is, for the June committee meeting, we'd like to come and do a demo of how the system works. And then we'd also like to have some participants that would like to test the system for us to make sure that it is accessible to everyone, whether they have a visual disability or whatever it may be. We'd like to get the committee's opinion on how the app is working before we fully launch it to everyone in the summer. And with that, I'll take any questions or comments.
All right, thank you, Ms. Heiss, for the presentation. Madam Clerk, are there any public speakers on the item?
We have no public comment.
Okay, seeing none, I will go to member comment and questions. If you would just hit the button, it'll put you right in the queue. I'll go with member Marino first, please.
Thanks for coming in for the presentation. Just a clarifying question. Can you upload, will you be able to, is the financial account kept totally separate from the reservations account? So in other words, I heard you mention you book a trip and then you can use the account to pay for the trip. But what if you don't book a trip online and you typically do it over the telephone? Will the system still work?
Yeah, so the representatives, so the reservationists, they have the ability to debit that account as well, because they'll be able to see that since it's all going to be integrated in one system. So they can go in and do that as well. Or if, let's say, you don't want to pay with Easy Wallet, you say, well, today I want to pay with cash or a ticket, then they can set that. So when the driver comes to pick you up, then they will see that on their tablet, whether it's been prepaid or whether you have to pay with a cash or a ticket.
And so when, for instance, if I made a telephone reservation, would I have to go online and then prepay that using the account, or is it something that happens once I get on the bus?
Well, so if you book it through the reservationist, so you call, they can debit the account right there and then. So it's already been prepaid.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about that. So they can do that right on the spot. You don't have to do anything else.
And the driver will know that when they pick you up, there's a note.
It's going to be on their
something.
tablet. Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes.
But does the driver have the ability to take a payment at the time of pickup, or it has to be done through the reservations?
Well, if you do at the time of pickup, it would either be cash or a prepaid ticket.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the driver's tablets don't have the ability
They do not, unfortunately. Yeah.
you can't pay once you're on the shuttle
No.
using the account?
No.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, member Lordson.
And I was going to come with this. Agency wise, are you going to be able to do this for agencies like ours that we you normally pre-purchase the tickets and mail them to riders? Is there going to be an agency account?
Yeah, so we've discussed that with Trapeze, and there's a little bit more logistics to go into that. And so it is absolutely a possibility, and that's what we're hoping to happen as well. And so we can discuss that further as we get into the process with agencies, especially with the SDRC, who purchases quite a number of tickets from us. And it's something that we're aiming to do as well. We just have to figure out the logistics.
I'll be gone, but I'll be
Yeah,
curious to see
absolutely.
how it works out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any further comment or questions? Okay, I know when I was briefed on this item, I found it very exciting. I look forward to us all getting a demo and seeing what the user experience is like. Okay, so thank you. This is an informational item, no action required. We'll move on to item number 7, same-day paratransit report. I would like to now invite Brittany Bardalis to provide the presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. Just going to give you a quick update on same-day service. For those of you who were missed the first presentation, a little bit of general information. The service begun on July 1st of 2025. The trips are scheduled on a space available basis for eligible MTS access customers. Same-day service is a premium service, so there is a cost of $10 each way. In order to make reservations, they do have to be made over the phone. So those calls can be made any day of the week between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And again, you have to call in to make that reservation over the phone. And these are subject to the same ADA restrictions that all ADA services has. Some highlights are that this is a service that people who might have forgotten to call in and make their reservations or make their reservations online or through the app. So last minute reservations, less expensive than trying to get transportation on the day of, and it reduces slack time within the service. Some stats on this are, there is a little bit of increase going from January into February. We are currently servicing 3.15 ambulatory clients and 1.59 wheelchair clients for a total of 4.74. Our numbers, so this is something that was requested last time as far as the contrast between our same-day rides to our regular rides. This is what that looks like. Out of our total rides, for the month of January, we now show that it is 1,230 and February is 1,293. So we remain right about that 4.0 percentage. That is it. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for the presentation. I have to keep asking the question, Madam Clerk, are there any public speakers on the item?
We have no public comment.
All right, seeing none, I will open it up to members for comment or question. Thank you, Member Marino.
I just wanted to thank you for implementing that same-day service. It saved my bacon a couple of times. So it's, I'm happy to see that people are using the same-day service, that they're successfully able to book rides. I've had a pretty good experience with being able to get a ride on the same day, so it's worked out pretty well. So I'm appreciating that we're doing that service. And do you find it is sort of making a difference in your slack time?
It does, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's great. I'm glad it's successful.
Thank you. I'm glad it's working.
All right, any further comment or question? Thank you for the presentation. Oh, we got one. Thank you, Member Gembler.
Are there any plans for sort of an online way to book same-day service?
Hasn't yet been brought up, but and also because it sort of remains a pilot. I think it's probably something more further down the line we would conversate about.
And then the $10 fare, that's just a flat fare, right? For the.
That's right, yeah.
Thank you.
Any more comment or question?
If I may, taking advantage of the time, I just want to introduce our new general manager. If you want to.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Damon Dash. I'm the new general manager for the Paratransit and minibus services. And this is what, week 4? So I'm brand new to San Diego, but everyone at MTS has been very welcoming. And I'm so excited to be here and to work with MTS and my team and the community and do wonderful things. But thank you for welcoming me and having me. And I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Sir, did you say your name was Damon Dash?
Damon Dash, yes, sir.
Sounds oddly familiar, but welcome to MTS.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the presentation. This is an informational item, no action required. We'll move on to agenda item number 8, which is the certification eligibility process. I will now like to invite Heriberto Gaitan to provide the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Heriberto Gaitan. I'm with MTM, representing the MTS Access Eligibility Department. Thank you for having me. And today I'll be providing you with a brief overview of our MTS Access eligibility process, such as what it entails and how our applicants can obtain an application if they're interested in the service. But before, I would like to highlight on the importance of the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, commonly known as the ADA. As through this law, it requires public transportation agencies to provide paratransit services such as MTS, which is intended for people with disabilities whose functional abilities limits them always or in some occasions to use the accessible fixed route service, such as a public bus and trolley system. Our MTS Access service is a shared ride service that is available on the same days, hours, and service areas as the public transit system. So for example, if the public city bus operates as early as 7 a.m. in one area of San Diego, MTS Access will be following that same schedule and that same route. The cost for the service is $5 for a one-way trip, which is paid to the driver, either in cash or by purchasing a booklet of tickets at the MTS Transit store. And now with the addition of the Easy Wallet, though, our riders will have an additional option to pay for the fare. And once a rider is certified, they can schedule a trip 1 to 10 days in advance. All of our MTS Access vehicles have lifts to accommodate wheelchairs and other mobility devices. And a rider can bring with them a personal care attendant or PCA free of charge to provide any assistance during the trip or at the destination. So anyone that's interested in using MTS Access needs to go through an application process. Our application process consists of 2 applications. Our Part A, applicant and information release, which is completed by our applicant, and the Part B, the healthcare provider certification for a provider who's familiar with the applicant's medical condition. Once the applications are completed, the next step is for the applicant to schedule an in-person assessment. Transportation can be provided free of charge to the applicant and their companions. And on the day of their appointment, their photo will also be taken. This photo is used to identify them when they board the bus. During the in-person assessment, we review their applications and we conduct an interview where we discuss their functional abilities and limitations and how it relates with traveling in the community and on the public transit system. We discuss their transit use, and the questions focus on their experience with public transportation, any difficulties that they might have encountered, or how public transportation could be possible or impossible for some. We also discuss environmental barriers, such as if someone has to travel in an area where there might be hills, how that could impact their ability to use fixed route, or how the weather could play a role as well, or a long distance travel could be a factor. We also ask questions about their use of their mobility aids, especially for those that use multiple ones, try to understand how frequently they might use one than the other. But not only that, we explain what the paratransit service is, as a lot of times applicants are under the impression that paratransit service is only intended for medical related appointments, when in reality it's for any purpose. And we educate them on MTS resources for those that might need them, such as the MTS SDM Reduced Fare Program, MTS Trip Planning, Pronto Support, Transit Store, just to name a few. And as needed, we conduct functional assessments to have a better understanding of our applicants' travel abilities and limitations. After the in-person assessments being completed, the applicant will receive a letter in the mail within 21 days, notifying them of their eligibility. And if someone disagrees with their eligibility status, they do have the right to appeal and can do so within 60 days. Our functional assessment is something that we recently incorporated as part of our in-person assessment process. A functional assessment is designed to evaluate transit-related abilities and tasks that simulate travel conditions. So for example, we might assess an applicant's ability to travel on a path with uneven surfaces, or how they navigate a curb or a slope, as these are tasks that someone could encounter when they're out in the community to use the public transit system. These tasks are very important during the in-person assessment process, as a lot of times applicants might underestimate or overestimate their abilities. And during the entire process, our applicants are always heard, they're always with someone, and they can always stop if necessary, as this is not a pass or fail assessment, as the intention is to have a good understanding of the eligibility that the applicant may be receiving. And also the process is individualized and designed to understand each applicant's needs, as two applicants with the same disability might have different functional abilities. So our applications are available in our website. Someone can download and print the application, can also complete them online, or they can contact our eligibility department and we can mail them the applications. The applications are available in both English and Spanish in regular and large print, and alternative formats can be provided if necessary. And this slide here has our contact information, where we're located, or phone number, fax, email address, or website, in the event anyone wants to contact us for an application, or if they have any questions about the MTS Access eligibility process. And with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you all for the opportunity. Please let me know if there are any comments, questions. Thank you again.
Thank you for that presentation, Mr. Gaitan. Madam Clerk, are there any public speakers on this item?
We have no public comment.
And I will now open it up to comment and question from members. All right, seeing none, this is an informational item.
Thank you.
No action is required. Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 9, MTS Access and MTM report.
Good afternoon again. So I'm going to provide the KPIs for our MTS Access and MTM services. So just an overview on MTS Access. No, I already just provided an update on that, or provided an overview on that. But like he said, MTS Access is a complimentary paratransit service, so it complements the fixed route. It is an origin to destination service within 3/4 of a mile of each fixed route. So we go wherever the fixed route is, 3/4 of a mile outside of that. We carry around 30,000 passengers per month, and we have 125 active drivers that drive the MTS Access buses. And right now we have 104 paratransit buses, and that's going to increase to 114. We do utilize 3 subcontractors. So we utilize Taxi, Care7, and Silverride to provide some of our trips as well. So looking at our KPIs, our first one is our on-time performance. And through January, we're at 87.4%. So we are steadily increasing month over month. And for February, although the numbers are not completely finalized, we're sitting around the 92% as well. So month over month, we have seen that increase. And then here's the chart just that looks from the beginning of the fiscal year as well as FY25. Now, in terms of ridership, through the January of this fiscal year, we're at 220,000 so far. And so you can see compared to FY25, the number is steadily continuing to increase. Now in that October, November, December timeframe, it's the holidays. So we typically see a decrease, but it is continuing to increase. We're not at pre-COVID levels yet. We're around 85% or so, but month over month, we're continuing to see that increase of that 30,000 passenger per month. And again, you look at the trend on the chart. Now, in terms of complaints, when you do look at complaints, as ridership continues to increase, complaints increase as well. However, I would say that Transdev is doing an excellent job at starting to reduce the complaints that we're receiving. We had one bad month of September, but since then they've continued to decrease and really work on the performance, work with everyone to, increase the level of the service that our passengers are expecting. So through January, we received 468 valid complaints. Now, alongside that, we also do receive compliments for our service, and through January, we've received 83. So similar to the complaints, as ridership increases, we also see an increase in compliments as well. And then finally, we wanted to provide a chart on the assessments that are completed by MTM. And again, they increase. When you see passengers increase, you see the number of people that are applying for the service as well. And so this just breaks down of how people are certified, whether they are a new applicant, where they're recertifying, and then what level of eligibility they received. So either unconditional or conditional, and those are our primary ones. We do also have a temporary conditional eligibility, but that is pretty minor compared to what we see here. And the majority of people either get conditional or unconditional. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I'll take any questions or comments.
All right, thank you for the presentation, Ms. Hayes. Madam Clerk, are there any comments from the public?
We have no public comment.
Okay, opening it up to members for comments or questions. I have Member Rodriguez first.
Hi. Hey, so when you guys get more increasements, right, during the week or during the weekends?
Oh, it's definitely during the week.
During the week,
Yeah.
because of the jobs, everybody going to jobs and everything?
Yeah, I mean, jobs, medical appointments, school, whatever it may be. But yes, we definitely see an increase during the week.
All right, thank you.
And we can get back to you and let you know what day, if you would like to know, what times during the day, we can let you know when we're seeing that higher level of volume.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Member Marina.
Just two questions. One, have we lost drivers? I thought we had a pool of 200, in the high 200s of our drivers, but I noticed 125 drivers on your.
Yeah, so we have a larger pool, but not everyone is active. So they could be out on leave or whatever it may be, but we've stayed very consistent within that 125 to 135.
So it's the
range.
active drivers you
The
were
active
reporting on.
drivers,
Got
correct.
it.
Yep.
And then the other question is the elephant in the room, the pending strike. I understand from the drivers that there's a pending strike coming up, and that's going to dramatically affect our riders. There's a lot of anxiety about that among the riders. And I know the last time there was a strike, it was pretty detrimental. So is Transdev maybe working with the union a little bit more tightly to try and improve that? Do we have any contingency plans?
I will let Mike answer that.
Thanks, Mike.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mike Wygant, Chief Operating Officer. Yes, our partners with Transdev are in contract negotiations. Seems like we always are within this organization. There's, I think, 11 different CBAs within 7 different unions. So it's kind of all ongoing. Specifically for our paratransit and minibus service, that contract CBA expires at the end of March. They've been working very diligently. We're not part of those negotiations, obviously, that they're not our direct employee, but it is progressing. But as always, as a contract ends, the term is nearing, and there is no defining solution at this point. We do prepare. We have contingency plans on both sides, but I'm still hopeful and optimistic that we will come to a solution without impact to our customers. So more to come.
I appreciate that. We're going to be keeping a tight eye on that because, like I say, it is very detrimental to the riders, missing medical appointments, school appointments, everything that it affects. So I know you're aware of that, but I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Lordson?
I might have skipped ahead. Are we on just general member comments, or are we still back on item 9?
We're still on item 9.
Oh, then I'll wait till member comments.
All right, my question was centered around compliments and complaints. That ratio seems to be right on point with being an elected official, but I'm wondering, do we keep track, like according to theme or topic on what those compliments and complaints
Yeah,
are?
Absolutely, we do. So we have a set description of what a complaint could be. And so we track each complaint based on what happened or what was reported as well as the outcome. So you could have something as an excessive ride time or late or something along those lines. So we keep track of every single complaint by category.
Okay, I might be the only one, but I'm kind of interested in seeing those themes and topics when we do this report again.
Sure.
Okay. Member Marino.
I think if I'm correct, if there's a complaint, they're given a phone number to call. Is that right? Or they leave a message for a supervisor?
So if there is a complaint, we like all of them to go through MTS, through the MTS customer service line. So that can be done either through phone, it can be done online where you can submit something, or if you ever send anything to myself or TransDev, we pass it on to MTS because we like everything to be in one place so that we can track it. So the preferred method is to go through MTS customer service because then it gets assigned to a department. So anything access related will come to us. So myself and Diana and the TransDev team will see every complaint, comment, suggestion, compliment that comes through. So that's the best way to do it. But if you do ever send anything to one of us, then we could pass it on to MTS.
So if someone's transferred to a supervisor, leaves a message for them, and they're being told the supervisor will call them back to clarify what the complaint is so that they can record it and you don't hear back from that supervisor, is that the wrong process?
Yes, that's where things get lost in translation. It just maybe wasn't passed on. So that's why it's best to go through MTS customer service because
Okay.
then we see the complaint, we see exactly what happened, we get the resolution from TransDev, we see videos, phone calls, whatever it may be. So the best way to do it is go through MTS customer service.
And where can people find that number? Because the number is good also for compliments, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. We'll get, after this meeting, we'll get Diana to send out the information to the website as well as the phone number for everyone to reach.
Okay,
Yeah.
just it would be helpful for both directions.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Maybe publicize that number better so
Yeah.
that the riders can understand it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Yeah, well, Dana will send that out.
All right, thank you. One last call for member questions or comments. All right, thank you, Ms. Heiss. This is an informational item. No action required. We'll now move on to item number 10, committee member communications and other business. At this time, are there any committee members who would like to provide brief comments on any accessibility related matter not already included on today's agenda? Okay, Member Rodville, please.
All righty. So my name's Casey Rodville. I'm from NAMI San Diego, and I just would like to talk about the 3 upcoming events that we have. Our first one, well, not our first one, but one of them is the 12th Annual Mental Health and Wellness Celebration. That's going to be happening Saturday, May 2nd. Everyone is invited, and it is a free event. It is from 12:30 to 5:30 p.m. I will be at the Brick and Liberty Station, 2863 Historic Dakota Road, San Diego 92106. There'll be face painting, self-care kit, vision boards, and fun and games, and every person is invited to attend. The next thing we have is our Telling Your Story training, which will be happening March 25th, 2026, and which is an opportunity to learn how to tell your story in 2 minutes or less and maybe use for decision makers. And lastly, we have our public comment feedback session that's going to be happening March 27th. It is from 3 to 4:30 p.m. to gather public comment and feedback regarding BHSA in San Diego County. Those are my 3 announcements, and it will be in the final package for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rodville. Any other members? Okay, Member Lurtzen.
Just, it doesn't necessarily relate to MTS, but our agency, San Diego Regional Center, has entered into a contract with FACT so that FACT can provide some rides in areas that we are unable to get services provided. And then lastly, I just wanted to announce, some people in the room may know it, some may not, that this will probably be my last ASAC meeting. I put in to retire in June, and I'll probably miss the June meeting. So, but thank you for everything through the years. I've been involved with ASAC probably 20 years or more in various ways, on and off the committee, actually working with Vassie for a few years down here at MTS, and everybody's been great. So really appreciate it. And thank you for all that every one of you do.
All right, well, definitely sorry to see you go. Didn't get a chance to really work with you, but Appreciate all the years that you've given to ASAC. Member Rodriguez.
Hi, hi. Yes, curious. So let's begin. We were hearing about the strike in the contracts and how we're doing with employees. Are we still hiring in the process or we're still?
Mike, would you like to come back to the podium, please?
Oops.
No, it's no problem. It's my honor. Was the question about the hiring?
Yeah, the hiring process and how is the mini buses are gonna go on strike, you don't know?
Yeah, the minibus employees are under the same collective bargaining agreement as the para ones that we talked about. So if there were a work stoppage, I would expect they would both be impacted.
Yeah.
But again, we're optimistic that we can find a reasonable solution, either at the end of the contract or sometimes they get extended before there's potentially an impact.
Okay, and you guys are gonna hire more employees to work too?
Yeah, there's some, with a CBA and a workforce that's guaranteed that work, there's some limitations, but some of the contingency plans could include subcontractors or additional work for subcontractors.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Member Hernandez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Christian Hernandez, Operations Manager for FACT. So our Right Fact Now program is in full effect, prioritizing on-demand, same-day wheelchair accessible service. So it's starting off kind of slow, but I think as like MTS knows, it's going to gradually pick up. So that is in full service. We're still offering the pre-schedule that is steadily rising. But give us a call and we'll be happy to look into what we could do to help out, including MTS and CDD, whoever needs our assistance. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Member Hernandez. Any other, Member Han?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Melissa On, Associate Transportation Planner with Caltrans District 11. Just have an announcement about the California Transit Advisory Committee. So in response to Senate Bill 960, Caltrans has been committed to establishing a California Transit Advisory Committee, also known as CalTAC. So the committee's primary objectives are to support the development of transit-related initiatives, promote equity and accessibility, offer informed policy recommendations, enhance community engagement efforts. So the members of the CalTAC represent partner agencies, staff, and professional advocates in the state of California with experience in planning, designing, maintaining, evaluating, and delivering public transit programs and facilities for transit users and first last mile transportation. So if you're interested in submitting an application, please submit your information via the application form on the CalTAC website by the deadline April 30th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other member reports, again, just want to say that I'm honored and elated to serve with you on ASAC. As a 26-year educator, when I look at data, when I hear stories from parents and students, I always think about how I can improve service as a teacher. And so that's the lens that I operate with when I sit on a dais, is listen and learn how to be better for people. So again, I appreciate you all taking the time to do this work, and I'm honored to do it with you. We will now move on to item 11. The next ASAC meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 18th, 2026 at 1 p.m. And there being no further business before this committee, we are adjourned. Thank you so much.